Duane Gibson, stuck to the same vision. Never quit because I couldn't slip, so I stayed driven. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? Some of you guys look a little confused. How about we slow it down for any adults that are paying attention? Because what I said was, who would have ever thought young Duane Gibson stuck to the same vision, never quit because I couldn't slip, so I stay driven. That means anytime I step in the arena, I come through raw like my name is John Cena. But this is in WWE. My name is D.O. I'm in a place to be. And see, I could have been talking about John Cena, but right now I'm talking about Cody Deaner. Right now I'm talking about all the believers. Right now I'm talking about all of my dreamers. Right now, what I gotta say, flex in the show. Shout out to my people in Montreal. I heard y'all guys from Montreal, so I brought out the Expos. Yeah, y'all know how it goes. Now we getting closer. And big shout out to the East Coast, because, hey, my dad was born in Nova Scotia. So when it comes to leadership, you can't talk it. You got to be believing it. You got to be seeing it. So that's why I got to give another shout out to Manitoba for all of their leadership. Because people were saying, but we can't do this year. I would never hear none of it. Because look, we got people tuning in from none of it. So next year, April, we're going to have some fun there. We're going to take it over to London. See, when you see D.O., you know I must kick a freestyle to test y'all like Elon Musk. But right now, for my people in a place to be, if you guys are feeling good, can you guys put up 2 hands in the air for me? I wish I could see. That's how we be. Thank you guys for having me today. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so pumped up. I mean, how can you not be excited after seeing all of the great speakers over these last 2 days? You know, sometimes I'm a fan. I sit here, I got my tea right now, sit here sipping my tea, just tuning in and listening to so many great speakers. So I really want to give a big shout out to the whole team for putting this on. Global Student Leadership Day. Even in the midst of a pandemic and COVID-19, you have leaders that are putting this on. So big shout out to my friend, Stu Sanders. Big shout out to my man, Ian Tyson. Got to give a shout out to Andy Thibodeau. Big shout out to the people behind the scenes. Shout out to Kara making this work, the whole team. And I got to give a big shout out to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you for tuning in over these last couple of days and being part of it today. And my hope is that you've been inspired. You've been fired up. And I also hope that you will use some of the knowledge that you've gained here. You know, I make notes. I've been taking notes. Jeff Gerber was talking yesterday. I was taking notes. So I hope you use what you've learned here and apply it to your life, because I think leadership is required more now than ever. My name's Duane. Most people don't call me Duane, though. Most people call me by my nickname, which is D.O. When people started asking me, you know, what does D.O. mean? I used to tell them a story. I'd say, well, back in the day, you know, my friends called me this, and, you know, because of this rapper. And I looked at the crowd and they were like, huh? We don't get it. And then I realized what people were asking me. They were asking me, what do I stand for? Now, because my name's an acronym, I get why they'd say, what do you stand for? But what do you stand for? What do you stand for? You don't have to be a rapper or musical artist or an entrepreneur or a brand or a social media influencer to stand for something. What do you stand for? So I said, I got to come up with something a little bit better. And I said, DO stands for Defy the Odds. Defy the odds. I mean, I guess it's DTO, but I said defy the odds because I felt like I had the odds stacked against me. And when I came out and spoke to youth, I could see that they resonated with that because, let's face it, a lot of the times when we're growing up, we feel like we have the odds stacked up against us. How are you going to defy the odds? One of my favorite things is when I come out to a school and I ask students, what do you think defy the odds means? And when people put up their hand, and they could be as young as 4 years old, I love the answers they give me. And sure, I do hear some same answers, but almost every single time I ask the question, I get a different answer. Sometimes it's a deep philosophical answer from a 7-year-old in Kitchener, Ontario, but I always get something new. To simplify it, I say defying the odds is about having a dream. You guys have a dream? Now, again, when I go to a school and I say this in front of kindergarten to grade 4, everybody puts their hand up. Everybody's got a dream. Yeah. When I go to grade 6 to grade 8, some people have a dream. Does everybody else have their hand? Grade 8's in the back? Nah, they're too cool. When I go to a high school, grade 9's, who's putting it? Grade 12's, yeah, sure, man, I got a dream, yeah. Joking about it. I think it's important to get in touch and in tune with that young dream. What we wanted to be when we were kids. I mean, if you look at my class picture when I was in grade 2, you'll see me, a little bit more hair on my head back then. Shout out to Ian Tyson, he knows what I'm talking about. But I took my grade 2 classroom picture with a cape on and a Superman S on my chest. Again, apologies to Jeff Gerber. I'm more on the Superman as opposed to Marvel. But I wanted to be Superman. Thank you to my mother for allowing me to do that. I also wanted to be a wrestler in my spare time. I could be Superman in the day. I could be a wrestler, maybe fit in another job on the side. My parents encouraged me to dream. Maybe you have parents that encourage you to dream, and that's great. Maybe it's not your parents. Maybe it's your aunt, your uncle, your grandparents, your friends. But maybe you don't have anybody to encourage you to dream, especially when you were a kid. I think that's the greatest time, the greatest opportunity to dream, to think that all these possibilities exist. Well, a few years passed. Now I'm in grade 8. And when it came to my high school, elementary yearbook, I wrote down as my ambition was to be a superstar rapper. No, I didn't want to just be a rapper. I wanted to be a superstar rapper. What do you think my friend said when I told them I wanted to be a rapper? I think they said, go for it. You could do it. Some of my friends said, go for it. But even some of my friends said, man, you can't be a rapper. You're from Canada. Now, some of you guys are like, okay, Dio, I was following you, but now I don't really get it. Because teachers will usually get that joke. Because when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of rappers from Canada. Now, you guys might say, well, what about Drake? Well, I didn't know Drake when I was a kid. I knew Drake as an actor on Degrassi I used to see at Yorkdale Mall, a mall in Toronto. And then he was invited to our studio. He recorded his first professional recordings that he released commercially. And so that's how I know who Drake is. I know Drake from playing NBA 2K with him and hanging out with him. But I didn't grow up under him. When I was a kid, I used to look up to this one rapper from Canada. His name is Maestro Fresh West. And when Maestro Fresh West came on the TV when I was 12 years old on a TV station called Much Music, we used to have to watch TV to see music videos. I was like, wow, superstar. It showed me the importance of role models. For me to believe in my dream, I had to see, I wanted to see somebody who did it. And that was Maestro. He showed me that my dream was possible. Try to find a role model. Try to find somebody who's living the dream that you want to accomplish in life. But let's face it, when you're a kid, you're not just thinking about your big dream. When I was going to high school, I didn't just say, I want to be a rapper every day. I was just trying to make it through school. I remember waking up in the morning, and the hard part wasn't at school. The hard part was when I heard this. It's a knock on my bedroom door. Some days it's my mom. Some days it's my dad. They say the same thing, though. They'd say, Duane, what are you doing? You're going to be late for school. And I would, of course, say, I don't think I'm going to make it to school today, not really feeling good. Now, of course, I wasn't sick. But some days I just didn't want to go to school. Guys ever felt like that before? Yeah. But I was able to get through that. I remember feeling like I didn't feel like I fit in. Remember people putting me down, saying mean things. And later on, I would create a song called Where I Dream is Where I Go, because instead of allowing my situation to control how I felt, I said to myself that where I dream is where I go. I believe for you guys, where you dream is where you go. Guys, catch that? Can't nobody tell me no. Where I dream is where I go. Where I dream is where I go. Where I dream is where I go. Now, some of my friends said I can't be a rapper, but some of my friends said I could. One of my friends said, I'll be your manager. He didn't know anything about managing. One of my friends said, I'll be your DJ. He didn't know anything about DJing. To this day, we still call him DJ Cub. That's his nickname, one of my best friends. And it's even more incredible that he never really DJ'd, because back in the day, being a DJ didn't mean hitting a button on the computer. We used to have these things called turntables, records. You'd have to scratch them. So my friends believed in my dream. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. Hang out with people that encourage your dream. Don't hang out with people that pull you down. I love going to conferences because I hang out with people that encourage my dream. I love seeing peers, like people that I look up to have become my peers. When I see Stu and Ian and Andy and Blake and Jeff and Orlando and Sky. Well, I don't know Sky too well, but I got to meet her to Orlando. These are my friends, and they show me that my dreams are possible. That just hanging out with people, and when you come to these events, you get this energy that's infectious. And that's to help believe in the dream. It's been a tough year through COVID. It's also been a tough year through a lot of racial unrest throughout the world. From George Floyd to Breonna Taylor to countless others. And this year I did a Black History presentations, and I did more than I ever have. And so what I want to do is I want to leave you with this poem by Langston Hughes. And in this poem, it's called Harlem. And he says, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? What happens to a dream deferred? So we talked about dreams. That's what I'm talking about today. You got your dream. I told you my dream, from being Superman to being a rapper. Cody was telling you about wanting to be Hulk Hogan. You all have your dream. But what happens to a dream that's deferred? When you have to put off your dream. And for many of us this year, we had to put off our dream. Maybe you're in grade 9 and you didn't get a chance to go to the grade 8 celebration. Maybe you're in grade 12 and you won't go to your graduation. You have to put off your dream. Maybe you wanted to play for the basketball team this year or the volleyball team, and it's not happening. Maybe you are in theater and you wanted to try out for the play. Maybe Hamilton was coming to your school. That'd be pretty cool. And you have to defer it. Or maybe you're an artist. But just because you defer your dream, just because you put it off, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Your dream can dry up like a raisin in the sun. But it doesn't have to. It's just temporary. Your dream can fester like a sore and then run. It's kind of nasty, right? Your dream can stink like rotten meat. I don't know about y'all. I wouldn't want to see that. And I tell that poem to young kids. And I say, put your thumb up or put your thumb down, if that's a good thing. I mean, those are all thumbs down. But your dream can be sweet, syrupy sweet. Gotta love maple syrup. You know, shout out to all my Canadians, all my people around the globe. Make sure you get that maple syrup straight from Canada. Your dream can turn out good. Maybe this time that you have deferring your dream, you've worked on your skill, you've honed your craft. Now when you get your opportunity, you are going to shine. But that last line, is my favorite line. What happens if your dream explodes? Is that a good thing, like a syrupy sweet? Or is that a bad thing, like rotten meat? Well, when I ask kids, sometimes they're like, yeah, it's a good thing. Some are like, no. Some are like this. I think if your dream explodes, it means it's bigger than you ever thought could be possible. Martin Luther King used to say, I have a dream. His dream didn't just come true, that you're not judged by the color of your skin, but by the content of your character. His dream exploded when Barack Obama was elected president of the United States. It's bigger than he thought was possible. I hope your dream is bigger than you thought was possible. My first rap name was D.O.G. I was a big fan of Snoop Dogg. I didn't have an easy road to be a rapper. I had to defy the odds. It took me rapping for 15, 16 years professionally before I had kind of a big break. And one time I was at the NBA All-Star Weekend. I was performing my song, Where I Dream Is Where I Go. Can't nobody tell me no. And I wondered why nobody was looking at me. They were looking behind me. And I looked over, and it was Snoop Dogg, who was playing in the game, dancing. And then he was going to give me 3 freestyle topics. I did a little freestyle in the beginning. I set a Guinness World Record for it. My dream had taken so long for this moment. And now I'm here with Snoop Dogg. Get it? Snoop Dogg, D.O.G. Yeah, I got my name because I'm a big fan of Snoop Dogg. Now I'm in front of my hero. And he says, D.O., I want you to freestyle about 3 things. Toronto. Okay. I've lived here. The NBA. Kind of a big basketball fan. Shout out to the Raptors. And me, Snoop Dogg. Well, I think you know I'm a big fan of Snoop Dogg. And at that moment, I knew that even though my dream had been deferred for a while, I was ready. And it was about to be syrupy sweet. And I looked over and I saw Joe Carter, who hit the home run for the Blue Jays. Home was the 6th. And I said, I'm going to knock this out the park. And I did. Can't nobody tell you no. Where you dream is where you go. You might have had to put your dream off for a second, but keep on going, because your dream is syrupy sweet, and your dream can explode, because you heard it from D.O.